So in this episode, we talk about how struggles help us build community and how problems are good for us. And speaking of problems, we had 2 cameras die out on us halfway through this podcast, so you'll see that switch there. But still watch. Thanks. Good? Awesome. Hello, we're here with Kevin and Joelene Taylor, the Taylors. We're here at this Ep03 studio in Racine, and today we're going to talk about maybe finding a connections. From the last 2 podcasts that we've done, it's kind of all come back to community and like people that you connect with. I was talking to Michael too about him. There are people that he does connect with and help him with his career choices, but there's people too that are like kind of like, hi, how are you doing? How's the weather?
I think there are different levels of connection. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that isn't, you're not using people or vice versa, but there are certain people that you connect with on different levels, I think. You know, there are people that you're more socially connected with them, and so you connect on those for those uses or for those moments. Or there's some people that it's fun to just connect, just to go out to eat. It's just a good connection. Right. Other people, there's occupational connections, and for us, we have people that we just want to do life with, those kind of connections. So I don't think you even have to do all or nothing of those. I think you can have connections that are meaningful on different levels with that. What about you?
I think everybody wants to be connected, you know, and I think probably that deeper connection is, I don't know if that's what you're talking about or not, but is that what you mean by the really connecting on a emotional level kind of a thing?
Because I feel like it can get a little bit selfish to oneself to like, you know, if I connect with that person, you know, we could work on something and it'll come out to something that benefits all of us. But if I take time to kind of connect with people, these other people, I don't feel like we get anything done. But so that's kind of feels a little selfish. But like there could be the opposite side where they like connecting with you, but you don't know it, and just giving that, you know, that time or those talks to other people can be beneficial, can benefit them without us knowing. So yeah, that's how.
I think that's important too. I mean, it seems like the reciprocal part of that sometimes you're connecting and you're getting benefit personally or emotionally or spiritually, whatever, and then sometimes you're connecting with somebody and they're getting it. Yeah. Or maybe sometimes you're connecting and nobody's getting anything except a surface level, but I mean, I don't know, maybe that's not always bad. That's just a general kindness perhaps, or just being human. Or better human.
Yeah, I don't think every single connection that we make that's valuable has to be 1,000 miles deep.
Right.
I think there are moments and purposes, and there are people I would like to be connected with that I don't know if they really want to be connected with me. You know, and there are probably vice versa, or people that would like to be connected with me that I haven't made a connection that they want to be connected with me. Yeah. You know, because I think that's always the merry-go-round of life. You're just trying to figure that out all the time. But I do think that there are connections that you have to have that are significant, you know, where it's not surface, you know, it is 1,000 miles deep. But I think those take time. I think it's rare in life where you just connect with somebody and you know this is a soulmate, you know, for 25 years. I think that takes some time to develop. I'm not sure we give it enough time, usually.
I think that's what's desired, though, by everybody.
Yeah, everybody craves that.
You want to be known. I mean, isn't that what really everybody wants?
Yeah, for sure.
Is to be really known for who I am, the way I've been put together, my personality, my likes, dislikes, and I'm okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, that leads to, like, say, people are maybe afraid they want to be known, but not known for who they maybe really truly are. Yeah. So, like, there's like, well, I want to connect with people, but if they really get to know me, they'll probably distance themselves. And I think I see that a lot in the creative world where say on socials, or where they kind of have the wall of being like, well, this is, they express themselves kind of more freely there, and then when you meet them in face to face, it's more like, okay, they're kind of narrowed down to how they think you want them to act.
Sure.
Have you seen that a lot? Like run into like people where they're different than what they're showing you?
Well, I think like even with creative people, I mean, you express yourself in your art, and when you're expressing yourself, you are putting all of your personality into that. But when you put your art out there, it gets interpreted
Right.
by other people. So it gets interpreted through their lens. So they can add a little bit to that or not. So you are expressing yourself when you're putting it out there, but it's not being interpreted necessarily. So when you get to know somebody, you start talking. That's when do I really want them to know exactly what I meant? Because that's pretty personal out there. I was thinking about that earlier, just about creative people or people who are artistic, because everybody has their own idea of what beauty is. So, and we're really judging beauty all the time, aren't we? Even as creative people. So, if you really want to get to know somebody, then you're asking them to sort of, you feel judged maybe a little bit. Is that why you close off a little bit? Somebody might judge me.
Right.
For what I feel or what I think or what I think is beautiful. So why don't you just interpret it yourself?
I think what you described is universal, and we're former creatives, so we're both musicians, and I think we're still creative.
Well, so far
but
it's vocation.
yes,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So
Who we are.
we did that for 2 decades, but I think that's everybody on the planet. When you meet somebody to connect, I never think that you're showing yourself. I don't think I am. I don't think you are. You're probably not. I mean, even if you say, no, this is me, even that's not really you. I mean, that's just what you're presenting at the moment. Because it's too dangerous just to be you from the first moment. I mean, I think everybody comes in with some kind of a mask just for self-protection until there's a safety there.
I've been thinking like that is humbling to try to get as close as you can to kind of present your true self, because you have a rank in society or something, but then you show who you really are, and that can humble you and say, okay, well, we thought this guy was like a really cool guy, that he had it all together, and now, but he says that he struggles with this, and now, we can't look up to him really, because he's shown who he really is. Do you think that's a good thing, maybe? Like humbling yourself to say, like with kids, they probably think you're a great parent and all that, but then if they see, oh, my dad, he was yelling at mom, and oh, now he's not as great as I think he is. But then you say, well, yeah, that's how we all are. We struggle with things and we try to get better. You think that's a good approach to finding humbleness, or to just life?
I think humility is a good approach. I don't know that we all do it that well. That's what I think. You're saying we protect ourselves, or pride. We don't even like to see it in ourselves. So if we express it to somebody else, then we're admitting it to our own selves, beside admitting it to everybody else.
Yeah, I think a mirror is the greatest tool that you can have, because all you have to do to combat, you see something in somebody else that you see as a fault or a failure. I mean, all you have to do is put a mirror up. And I mean, I know who I am better than anybody here in this circle knows who I am. And I know that I'm full of faults and frailties. So when I see somebody else who I see has a chink in their armor, I mean, it's not that hard to go, they're okay. because all I got to do is, put the mirror up and go, you know who you are, so, and I think that is humbling.
Yeah, and I think that also leads to connections, or better connections, because now, I think I was talking with Jason too, like, you level out the field when you say, okay, you have troubles.
For sure.
I have troubles, and I kind of wish people would go that route more, and like showing maybe the struggles, because like I think in the Bible is full of like people's struggles, and when we look at other people, it's like you don't really present all the struggles, and like you just present the good side of everything. And on the creative side, it's always been like, oh man, that photographer did this amazing shot, but you don't see the struggle of him probably like
Right.
living in a car for a while or something, just like messing up and screwing up like huge jobs. But those struggles are what I feel make us all more connected. Yeah.
For sure.
Looking at the bottom side of a quilt or any kind of, or even mosaic, you're looking at the bottom of that, you don't see the polished side. You don't see the clear picture. That's what you're showing to everybody else. But the underside is what makes it clear on the top side.
I don't think we see struggles as beautiful.
True.
And I think that's wrong. I think the struggle is itself beautiful. We go, the struggle is on your way to be beautiful. And I think that's a wrong description. I think the struggle is on its own part of the beauty of who you are. Because honestly, you're never going to achieve a struggle-free life or an unmarred life or just like the perfect. You're never going to get there.
Right.
I don't think you are.
Yeah.
I mean, I could be wrong, but
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to get there. So the struggles have to be beautiful then. I mean, otherwise you're just nothing but ugly. And so I think that can be beautiful by itself. I would like to think that you see that as beautiful as me and vice versa. Yeah.
Yeah, I know one time you said something about messy, like life is messy, and it's got all these messy parts that we stay away from because we don't understand them.
Right.
And why did this happen? Well, don't focus so much on what's happening, but focus more on what's the process that's going on through here.
Right.
Like say, I don't know, your car breaks down and you're so focused on, oh man, life is really crummy to me, and now this happens, and that's just how life is going to be.
Right.
Instead of taking the time where I've been kind of evaluating my thought process too, and like thinking, okay, this is a good thing. I get to learn what it is to struggle through this, and now next time when I see somebody who has the same problem, I'll know their
Right.
pain.
It's good.
And want to help because it's happened to me. So if it doesn't happen to me, I don't have that sympathy or empathy, one of those words,
Right.
to want to help others. And so that's why I like how you say the struggle is beautiful, because without struggles, then you just become the perfect person, and the perfect person doesn't advance.
Proud,
from,
vain.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you were to stack them up, like all of your victories and all your awesomeness, and then all of your struggle and all of your pain and your difficulty, I don't know which would be greater. I think you could make a case that there are as many of these as there are of these. Maybe in some lives there's more of these. So if you don't see this beautiful, then you're saying that you're not beautiful. You have way more struggles than you have great things or victories. So by that definition, you're ugly. And I don't think that would be God either. I think that's how he sees us.
Yeah, and victories usually are not as satisfying as we think they would be. Say you accomplish something you've been not wanting to accomplish, but now that you've accomplished it, only that moment that celebration only lasts
That's right.
This
so
satisfaction was
long.
getting there,
Mhm.
actually, in that
Right,
look at all that I was able to go
Mhm.
through.
And now you're
get
trying
there.
to look for something else
you're
too.
going
You just need another one,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and arguably you need a bigger one
Yeah.
in order to be satisfied and happy.
Haven't you heard it said that was it your growth will only start at the edge of your comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're not maybe a little bit uncomfortable or going through something, we're not really growing.
Mm-hmm.
If we're comfortable, we're just sitting still
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and not growing. So
Mhm.
the struggle is growth.
Struggle is growth.
I'm not really sure how to get there, but there is that concept of joy in trials and difficulties.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think that's a stretch. But if we could get closer to that it's okay to define that struggle as even a joy moment. I mean, sometimes
Right.
that's like maybe after it, but if you could get there in the middle of it, that would be something.
Mm-hmm.
I was just reading in the book of James, actually, and it was talking about endurance, about the struggles, and that's to produce endurance. So apparently there's something valuable in endurance. So how do you grow in endurance unless you struggle?
Mm-hmm.
You're pushing yourself to something. You're participating in something you're not sure about. You're exercising some muscles you've never used before, or some emotions, or some part of your spiritual life, or something that's pushing you into something different.
Mm-hmm.
That the pushing, that the enduring, being able to endure through it, that there's value in the endurance.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And even conquering fears that you have. Because I like how you said, what was it, that on the edge?
Your growth only starts at the edge of your comfort
Yeah.
zone.
So there's been a lot of times where I feel like I'm afraid of something, to do something,
Right.
but it's only because something inside of me wants to do that. So if I want to do this podcast, boom, fear comes and says, well, but fear comes because it's something that I want. For some reason, the fear wouldn't exist if I didn't want to do it, and if it wasn't supposed to be there to push me. So sometimes I found a lot of times actually that when I see that I'm scared of something, it's because I actually have to do it and
Right.
and conquer it. You know.
And I believe that, and the way through that, I think, is running into the fear.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're doing the podcast right
Yeah.
now, so I mean that's how to conquer it. Is you run into it,
Mm-hmm.
like you run through it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that's easy,
Nope.
but yeah,
It's the unproven part, so you just have faith in it because it's unproven so
Mhm.
far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I've run into people that they wouldn't say it's like a God thing or anything. They would say, I just felt like I needed to do this, and
right,
and they go out and they do it, and they come back to say, I did it because I believed, either in themselves or just because they believed that that's what the universe was telling them to do.
right.
Yeah.
I think if you circle back to your first question about connections,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a fear thing for a lot of people, that they're not going to like me, or
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to reach out to them because I'm afraid of, and fill in the blank. And that's a fear I think that we often don't push through. And what you would gain, the value you'd gain from that if you did, I mean, you're probably making half that up.
Mm-hmm.
That they wouldn't want to talk to me, they wouldn't like me.
Mm-hmm.
So you just you stay back, and you miss the potential of a connection that could be very valuable for both of you.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I'm preaching to myself right now. So just push through that fear, walk into it, and try to make the connection.
Probably pretty much 100% of the people think that. We just don't
Right.
say that. Don't I think that? Apparently you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've gone and talked to people, and walking through that fear of like, and sometimes it's ended up where, man, we actually do get along, and because with photography, it kind of gets, you kind of think it's the competition there, but then you talk to them and it's like, oh, we're not competing, we're actually struggling in the same things together, and we
Right.
should be working together. But then on the other side, there's also been people that I've met that I've been wanting to meet, and I'm like, oh, it would have been better off if I didn't meet you because I thought you were like a better, cooler person. And like they end up being like, yeah,
Regular, just like me.
yeah, no, not like you.
Uninteresting.
I think the differences in people, the creativity in people, that's what adds to the texture
Mhm.
of life. He doesn't want us to all look the same, act the same, be the same, or he would have created us all
Mhm.
that way. But I think that's part of showing God,
Mhm.
is by seeing all the texture and all the creativity in
For
people,
sure.
and that it's just not all flat and no bumps. And that's part, if you go back to that struggle, that's part of the struggles that make us unique.
Mhm. True.
Like that.
Mhm. Any last words?
Well, I mean, I agree with that. And, you know, you're unique, and you're unique, and I'm unique. And
Mhm.
that's a beautiful community, really.
Mhm.
I mean, that's one that I would ask God for more of.
Mhm.
You know, I don't need more me's, and respectfully, I don't need more you's and all of that.
Mhm.
But we need more of whatever's out there.
Yeah.
You know, just to be part of that and to go, it's good, it's okay.
Right.
You know, there's not a special person here. You know, it doesn't matter what role you play, you're not special.
Mhm.
You're just given that role.
Right.
And that role could be taken away from you tomorrow and somebody else could have that role.
Mhm.
We're all, like you started that, there's a levelness there, that we're
Yeah.
all part of
It's
that.
not about conformity, it's transformity, if you want to say it
Yeah.
that way. It's about transforming to your better self, but not conforming.
And it's not
to all
uniformity
or uniformity, to look the same.
either.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Right.
yeah.
Can we end with one Kevin Taylor cough?
Oh, ready?
Did you not cough this whole time?
I tried not to.
Thank you guys. Hope you enjoyed it. See ya.